Shall we start?
We shall start.
Sheila Grube, it's such an honor and joy to have you here. You have been a great friend, an inspiration in many ways, and I have had such great experiences with you, not only as a teacher, but as a companion on our travels, as a person. And it makes me so happy to be able to talk to you in this format as well. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Um, First, thanks for asking me. Thanks for thinking of me. Me, Sheila Grube.
Oh, yes, Sheila Grube, who else? You have such
Yeah,
a unique
right.
story to tell. This is what I feel.
Do I?
I think you do.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not sure that I flow as eloquently as our friend Annie, but I will try my best to share my passion, and hopefully, through my words, you can kind of know who I am and why I love doing what I do.
I'm
So,
sure.
is that like an introduction for me to just kind of start with from the beginning?
Yes, sure. You can share whatever you want, like about your background, whether it's a personal story or connected to your Zentangle journey, whatever you feel like comfortable with.
So I feel like I can't talk about Zentangle without sharing somewhat of my story, because there's so many stories out there about what Zentangle has done for people and their lives. And I, Zentangle found me. I didn't find it. I was in the lowest part of my life. Everything, literally everything in my life had changed. Some were choices, and some were just thrown on me after the choices were made. And it was a lot. It became a lot. And I was in a huge depression. And, I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about waking up. I didn't care about hygiene. I didn't care about anything. Um, it was somebody caring about me that took me to a place. It was a woman's retreat, actually, that I stumbled upon what they called Zendoodle. Um, so I had to sign up for one class. That was the stipulation of that. I had to sign up for one class. And you're walking through and nothing's ever speaking to me, because at that point, nothing is speaking to me, right? And about halfway down, like the third table of activities or things that you could sign up for, there was a Zendoodle sign up sheet.
Mhm.
I had no idea what Zendoodle was, but I did know I needed some Zen in my life, right? So I signed up. And I showed up, which was not me at all in that time. I didn't show up for anything, including myself, but I did show up. And I'm not kidding you, the moment my pen hit the paper,
Please don't cry. I will cry then.
gosh, yeah. The moment my pen hit the paper, I had an emotional breakdown, and it was like, wow, what just happened? Like, what is going on? So I finished the class. It wasn't a beautiful tile at all,
Mm,
but it was me from the inside out. It was freeing. It was, it just lifted a weight from my inside out.
mm.
And I was like, wow, what just happened? And I went back to my room to find out, what this Zen doodle was all about, only to find that it wasn't Zen doodle at all. And it had an official name, and I could teach it.
Mm.
Well, part of my shifting And my spiral downward was me getting fired from my job. So when I found out I could be certified to share the experience that I just experienced with other people that could be on that same field as me or above, I was like, sign me up.
Mm,
So I became a CZT in 2014, CZT 17, and it was in November of 2014. And that Thanksgiving, I did my first class with my family over Thanksgiving, which you know what Thanksgiving is now.
mhm,
It's
mhm,
just a gathering of beautiful people, whether it be friends, family, both, doesn't matter. But it's all about sharing gratitude and being grateful for the bounty that we have on a daily basis, right?
mhm,
So I shared with my family and I took to it right away. I was like, I wasn't nervous. I just had so much passion and so much to share. And I was like, I could do this.
mm,
And shortly thereafter, I transitioned my two-car garage into a makeshift studio and had 4 or 5 very loyal students that would come to anything that I offered. Um, but that's it. It never grew into anything. It never became anything but those 4 or 5 very, very loyal students, which I am hugely, hugely humbled over because without those 4 or 5 humble student or loyal students, I wouldn't be here now, literally sharing with the world
mm.
my passion and my joy every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
It
my
did
story.
grow
And
into not just anything. It grew into such a beautiful and big thing. I mean, now you are hosting, but before that, let me just ask you, did you have any artistic background or experience before you went to that Zen doodle?
yeah, none at all. I mean, in school,
Yeah.
had art classes and such like that, but I never, did anything with it. I never had, but I always enjoyed art. I was always creative. I was a scrapbooker. I loved
Mhm.
all of my, back in the day, we had to cover our textbooks,
Mhm.
with paper bags and, those were always all decorated up. But, no, nothing that was substantial or anything. I just enjoyed working with my hands. So no, no, nothing that would ever lead to this. And if you saw my first tile, you'd be like, ooh, that got you here. I should have brought it because it really is ugly, but in so many ways, every time I look at it, it makes me emotional because it's so
Mm.
beautiful what it has allowed me to do, to grow, to, you know, live.
So
Yeah.
the name of your business, and I always, when I say about my own business or somebody else's business, like business, it's such kind of a heavy word, and it doesn't go along with what we do because it is our passion more than anything, right? So when I
100%.
say business, it's always like cringy thing to do, but you are operating under the name Tangled Art and
I'm
Zen now,
sharing my
right?
passion.
You're sharing your passion under a brand, under the brand Tangled Art and Zen right now. And you are, I don't know about anybody else who does things like you do. Obviously, you also teach online, you teach in-person events as a teacher, but the core of your business are the retreats that you host at your own home. So, would
It's
you
magic.
like to share something about that? I mean, I've been there, so it's not for me, but maybe for the world to hear about
Yeah.
it.
So, I mean, the story of you even being here, let's just start there because I had just got done teaching an online class and said goodnight, whatever. And I wait in the studio until my class downloads. So I don't lose connection between the studio and the house. So I wait
Mhm.
here until it's downloaded. Um, and I just kind of play on my phone or regroup or whatever. That night, I end the class. I'll never forget this. I end the class and I get a message that pops up and it's Anita. And I'm like, uh, I open it. I'm like, such a joy to see your name pop up in messages, but not at that point very common, right? Like
Mhm. Mhm.
we've been friends, we've been social, but not ever just, hey, what's up? Like in my
Maybe
mess.
just for the people who don't know, we met in person in India in 2023 when we joined a group of travelers on a trip to India, which wasn't actually a Zentangle retreat or a Zentangle trip, but it
Right,
turned out that only more or less CZTs were there, and the two of us were a part of this small group. So that's where we met. But it's not like we've become close friends.
right.
Um, but you were on my radar, and when I saw the photos of those retreats that you are organizing, I knew that I had to be there. So coming
Uh,
back to you.
so I opened up my messenger to this message from Anita, and they just released Zen Again dates. And I was wondering if you ever thought about doing like a shoulder retreat for international people that can't typically get to one of your retreats. And I was like, uh, I left my download sit. I ran into the house to my husband. I said, Josh, you'll never believe who just reached out to me asking for a retreat.
On demand.
Yeah, like it was crazy. I couldn't sleep that night actually, and I was like, let me just get back to you. That was my response. Let me
Mhm.
get back to you. Because it was a little almost overwhelming that someone so prominent in the community with their own amazing schedule and lineup and talent would think that I, Sheila Grube, had anything to offer, right?
For
It
sure.
it was like, wait, what? Is this a joke? Hello? Um, so yeah, when I said, let me get back to you, I went in and my husband was like, say yes, we'll make it happen. So yeah, we did make it happen, and that was the international retreat. That was the week before Zen Again in
Fine.
2025.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we had 9 people, literally from all over the world, come to little old measly Origsburg, Pennsylvania, which has no significance whatsoever. You're not ever coming here to tour. You're not ever coming here to see anything. But we're in the middle of nowhere with beautiful land. And it's just a beautiful escape. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, I do host retreats at my home and my studio 3 times a year, spring, fall, and Christmas, because I just love Christmas and it can't be unnoticed or unrecognized. But there's 3 fall retreats, 3 spring retreats, and then just one Christmas retreat. 9 people at a time that stay in my home. And it's magic. It really is. I
I know
mean,
it is.
it, there's when you go to a retreat of 50 people, it's amazing.
Mm.
You can flit and, intermingle and ignore who you want to ignore and embrace who you want to
Mhm.
embrace. And I don't mean that in a negative way at
Of
all.
course.
It's impossible between all of the classes to get to everybody. Um, so you may get a hello from someone and you may have a full-blown conversation with another person, but it's impossible to do that with everyone. When we're a retreat of 9 and we're staying in our home,
Mm.
sitting in the living room, having dinner around one table, there are no words. You come sometimes as perfect strangers. There's times that, 9 people walk in and don't know a single
Mhm.
soul.
Mhm.
But through that connection, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to choose groups that
Mhm.
you want to. We are all one group at 9 people. So there's bonds and relationships that form that doesn't happen anywhere else. And I say, I always argue, anybody can try to replicate what we have, but you'll never be able to replicate the community, the friendships, the family
Mhm.
that is formed. You can take any of my details, any of my ideas as far as how a retreat is run. Psh, I don't care.
Mhm.
But what you can't replicate is that family,
Mm,
is that friendships that, I have people that were perfect strangers that now travel together, that
mm,
now are close friends that would have never happened
mm.
if it would have not happened at Pine Creek Retreat.
You're so that's so right. I mean, most of the people, I would say, out of those nine, I have met before in person. But it was only when we spent those days in such a it's like a family atmosphere, really, that we bonded on a much closer personal level. And now
Yeah,
when I see them, it's like, meeting a family member again. Um,
love that.
it
Ugh,
can't be compared to big retreats. It can't be compared. And whenever, we have so many things going on all around the world, big retreats, small retreats, uh, invitation-based retreats many times where it's not like an open event, it's only invitation-based. And when those things happen, you always come back to those people that you spend so much time with, that you got so close to. It's really special, and it's amazing because it's kind of scary thinking about 9 people and how the different personalities could crash, and not
absolutely.
everything. You don't expect everything to go smoothly, but somehow there wasn't even one flicker of tension, or
Right.
it's amazing. 9 women.
9 women, right? I only accept women because the facilities were too
Mm.
close. There's
Mhm.
no individual, this is the men wing, this is
Yeah,
the way,
yeah, yeah.
it can just be women. It would not work out if we threw men into the mix. But you're right, 9 women. And I think that the very first thing that I say when I bring these 9 women together is ultimately, I want you to do you, right? I always want you to bring your authentic self to the plate.
Mhm.
Um, but, but, there's always a but, right? You do you until you doing you affects somebody else doing them. And that's my line. That's my opener. And I'll call you out if you're affecting the energy of
Mhm.
what's happening. And
Of
truly,
the family.
yeah, exactly. And truly, that's only ever happened one time.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to lie, I was so thrown off that it was happening that I didn't intervene. And it was a huge lesson
Mm.
in what will happen next time, right? Because
Mhm.
it does. It's we're too small for toxicity, right? Because that toxicity just spills.
Mm.
Um, but this spring, I will host my 27th retreat in 5 years. This is my 5-year anniversary, and I've done 27 retreats. Well, I will have done 27 retreats in this spring. And so one bad apple in
Mhm.
that mix of people, complete strangers, many. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I'll never get over this. Talk about humble. People that sign up that have never taken a class from me have no idea who I am. I mean, like, I'm not sure I would even do that, right? And yet here they are coming to the middle of nowhere, um, in my home.
Mm,
To me, being the only teacher, it's not like I have guest teachers that come
mhm.
in. Every class is taught by me, and I'm not having a single clue if they like how I teach or what I have to offer, or they have no idea. It's mind-boggling, but humbling all at the same time. And I'm just so blessed, just so freaking blessed to be able to live a dream every single day, like share my life, my
Yeah,
passion
exactly.
that truly 14 years ago, I didn't even know I'd have a life. And yet here I am sharing it with so many people, um, in such a special, magical way.
You
It's
are
amazing.
literally sharing your life in much more than any of us are, because having people in your home is really so personal. It's so personal, and it takes so much courage and vulnerability. And the fact that the people who meet there and who met at, I can speak for our group, it only speaks to about the broader Zentangle community. Of course, as you say, people are different, and there will be maybe somebody here and there who, maybe I personally will not get along with. It doesn't mean that the person is bad and I'm good or whatever. Just,
Right.
we can't go, but
Absolutely.
but we are all so willing to compromise and be there for each other, and in a way go out of the way to make each other comfortable. I've never met, I had previous jobs. I was in communities, different kinds of communities. I've never experienced anything like this before.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, and we always say we come together with that commonality of Zentingle, but it literally takes 2 minutes
Mm,
talking to somebody to find out there's a wealth of
mm,
commonalities between each of us, that goes far deeper than Zentangle, right? And just to be able to share on a deeper level and be accepted for, I always say when we meet someone, we meet them today.
mhm,
We don't know what got them here.
mm,
Many, many times, however, what I find in my retreats is there's a depth to the friendship. There's
layers.
a meeting where we are today, right?
Mm, mm,
And that doesn't always happen.
mm.
But again, because you are in my home, you become part of the family. My husband does the cooking, right? My dad is in the house above us, right? So it is truly a family affair. And there's just that connection that takes us deeper than the art and the commonality that originally brings us together. Yeah.
Mm. I'm glad that you mentioned Josh, because I was certainly going to mention him too, because it's not just like a huge support system. He's so
Oh,
deeply involved in everything that you do.
I could not do it
Yeah,
without him, 100%. I mean, we say these are our retreats because without him, there
I
wouldn't
did
be a
notice that.
retreat.
I did
Yeah.
I did notice that you say it's our retreat, and yeah, it's your home. I mean, it's both of you, and you can feel the love for what you are doing. And maybe as far as I understood, and as far as I remember from when I was there, you actually, when you bought the property and when you renovated the property, you had this vision of having people sharing this passion for Zentangle in your home, right?
Actually, no.
No.
That's not how it happened. No, we bought the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a complete gut job. It needed, I mean, it was a large house that had black mold and 2 inches of water in the basement. Um, but when I walked in, I could see the potential of what was happening, or what could happen here. But it was truly just a place that I felt we work really well together. And we love home projects like home remodeling and stuff. Our previous house was an 1824 log cabin that we fixed up and kind of made our own, but it never really felt right. It was little room, little room, little room, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And we like the wide open spaces, yeah? So it just never really worked for us. So when we bought this house, we saw, oh, we have a large family. We can host holidays and whatnot.
mhm, mhm,
And it wasn't until my daughter from North Carolina came to visit, and she's like, I want to see the house. And we didn't even own it yet. So we had to call the realtor to, bring us over to the house again.
yeah.
And as we were driving down the driveway, she's like, stop the car. And I'm like, okay, Mom, this is like Pine Creek Retreat. Could you imagine the grandbabies spending summer here and playing basketball in this huge parking lot and just time with Nani and Papa? And Josh was like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't have any grandbabies. Like we're just buying this house, and as we were fixing it up, people were coming in and saying, oh my gosh, all this space, you could host retreats here.
Mhm.
And that's when we said, we might be onto something because we were building this studio. And actually, we built this studio off of an existing shed that existed on the property, which was about a quarter of the size of what the studio is now.
Mhm,
So we just took three walls, kept the three walls that existed, and extended out
mhm.
to create an additional extension to two of the walls and then that fourth wall. Um, but it was built for the local community.
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
built
Mhm.
for those 4 or 5 loyal
Important.
students that I
Mhm.
had in person that maybe, just maybe, now that I had an official space, someone would come and share it with me. I couldn't even give free classes away. Nobody would come. Nobody gave a hoot about Zentangle or Tangled Art and Zen in the middle of nowhere or Wigsburg. Not even the local people. So I heard Annie say it and I'll repeat it. It was COVID.
Mhm.
COVID allowed me to reach a broader community through online. And that broader community is what allowed me to make sense of this studio that was in my
Yeah.
backyard.
Think
That,
bigger. Think bigger.
yeah, yeah, it
Mm,
just,
mm,
you know, without without the worldwide community and being able to share this space and allow people to bring their creative energy in, it would look a lot different here at my
mm,
home. It
mm,
wouldn't be Pine Creek Retreat at all, right? It wouldn't, yeah.
mhm. So,
But
so maybe for the people who are wondering about this very specific modus operandi, or how do you say it in English, Latin, um, what do you find is the biggest challenge in the way that you conduct this joy passion business?
yeah, yeah, I do. I cringe at the word business. I
Yeah.
always say to Josh, all I want to do is create. All I
Yes.
want to do is share my passion.
Yeah.
I don't numbers. Yeah, I just whatever. I don't care. He's like, well, let's do this differently.
We
I
have to
don't
pay the bills.
care. Yeah, I don't care. The joy of what I do and the support of Josh is I don't have to pay the bills.
Mm, mm,
He allows me to take my concept and run with it and
mm.
truly share the passion. And he takes care of the stress of the bills. you know, I don't contribute. I'm not gonna lie. I don't contribute. I spend every dime that I bring in because that's what I choose to do. I want to share my passion in a unique way. I want to give back to the community. Um, And that's what it's all about, right?
Mm, mm,
I don't pay the bills. Yeah, but what's the biggest challenge? I think overall the biggest challenge is remaining authentic.
mm,
When you see so many people sharing their creative twist and liking what you're seeing, right? Not taking their creativity as your own, but remaining true to you.
mhm.
What I mean by that is I'm always a black and white girl, 100% a black and white girl. Am I a purist? Well, if that makes me a purist, then maybe, but I'm a tool and medium um, learner. I love to just gather different tools, supplies, mediums, substrates. I don't, I'm not a official tile girl. I'm not an
Mhm,
official micron girl.
mhm,
Yes, it's black and white, but I explore other options to
mhm.
create the same. And I argue that there's no pure Zentangle anymore unless you're sitting with a tile with no thought and a string and a pen, right?
Mm.
Everything else, I mean, everything that I teach it's not pure Zentangle because it's very well thought out. There's
Pre-planned. Mm,
Yes, it's pre-planned. There's a structure to it. I know in my head where I want to go or
mhm.
what point I want to get to, right? So I argue that pure Zentangle is very, very few and far between anymore. Um,
It is, but for us who come to you as students, the process is we have a different experience. So if we can find that flow and joy in the process and don't
yes.
feel it being forced, and when it has this nice flow, it still is, it has the Zentangle spirit. For the teacher, when you plan classes, obviously, it requires discipline, it requires structure, but it doesn't mean that for your students, it's not like a pure Zen experience, because it is.
Oh, 100%. Yes, I believe the mindfulness is still there.
Yeah.
I believe the process, the journey to get
Mhm.
there, it allows us that pause,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
reflection. I do believe all of that, but there's not much in just sitting down with how many students do you have that never just sit and tangle for themselves because they're always looking for the beauty of what they create. It's not about the process.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not just taking a tile and whatever happens, happens and creating from the inside out and just flowing. It's amazing to me how many people sit in my studio and when I don't direct them and say, just use your mac and cheese, they stall.
Yeah.
What do you mean a mac and cheese? I don't know any tangles. What do you mean you don't know any tangles? Come on now. You've been tangling for years. You have a tangle that you can pull at
Mm.
any given moment,
Yeah.
but being put on the spot, they don't. And I truly believe that they don't. It's just this,
Yeah. You're so
this.
right. We both were at Zen again last year, and the number of people who during the lessons classes have specific questions about where exactly we need to position this or what exactly, like nothing needs to be precise or exactly like this or that. It's the beauty of Zentangle, but people like to have those really structured, detailed directions, and some people just feel better with that. You're
Yeah,
so right. I
which
think
is, yeah,
more of our colleagues,
yeah,
students, whatever,
yeah,
prefer to have those really strict guidelines than
right.
not
Which
to.
is totally fair,
Yes.
no
Yeah.
doubt about it. Um, there's a place and a time for that. But morning tea, you could pull out a tile and just put your pen to
Mm,
paper
mm,
and allow your day to start with that
mm,
mindfulness
mm,
without caring what that outcome looks like. right?
Mm, mm,
Just flowing.
mm.
Even if it's the only tangle that you can recall off the top of your head, right? I always tease that I'm such a large tangler
Mm,
that I don't work off of official tiles very
mm,
frequently. I mean, a 3.5 by 3.5 inch tile is a monotangle for me.
mm, mm.
People that can squeeze an entire composition onto that, kudos. That's not really me.
Yeah,
I love the big
I
substrate.
know.
But yeah, what I was getting at is I believe at the end of the day, I think the most difficult thing is to not get caught up in the melding into other people, but staying authentic to yourself and find your own voice
You are
in the
really right.
community.
And one thing that I took from, so I'm the opposite. I mostly use Zentangle supplies and original tiles, and I enjoy the format because it allows me to finish a drawing fairly quickly. I don't like spending hours on the same piece of work or
Fair
piece
enough.
of art. It's different preferences, just
Sure,
normal, like
sure.
you not loving the mushy food and me loving it. But one thing I took from you when I was there and that I really liked, and I even think that you specifically told us, like, I don't want to do things that I can just do during an online class. I don't want to teach a class that I can do online. I want to do something that will be a unique experience that we can only do while we are here in this setting all together. So those bigger formats, very specific tools, very specific supplies. And now, even when I teach at in-person retreats, which I never organize, I only come as a guest teacher when somebody asks me to and when I am available to teach. I I remember you and your and your retreat and your philosophy, and I think, okay, let's not do something that I can teach every month in Sangal Lab. Let's do something that I'm not able to do because I would have to ship I don't know how many things to
Right,
how many people, right? Which I
right,
don't which I can't or don't want to do.
right.
So this is what I really appreciated about your class. They are unique, and it's not something that you will come across at any online event or at any
Thank,
online class.
thank you.
So I
That
mean,
means a lot. Thank
congratulations
you.
on 27 retreats. It's a huge accomplishment, and it's not an accident that happened. You earned it, and so much more. And yeah, you are doing something very unique, in my opinion, and people
Thank you.
love it for that
Thank
reason.
you. I appreciate you. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I always say that and you did use my words exactly, right?
Mm,
If I can do it during the online, I don't want to do it. But there's also something to be said about taking that time. And I know you say it all the time, like anything over 2 hours is too long for a class, right? So I can't even imagine what went through your head when I handed out the schedules and you saw 4 hour classes, right? Like, did you want to bag and, get back to Croatia just as quickly as possible?
no way. I was totally open to the experience, to something, experiencing something different, learning new things, and I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I think it's important. I think so many people, because it's easy to take 3.5 by 3.5 inch tiles and throw them into a box or, put them into a folder or tuck them away. I don't make it easy for people to
Mm,
tuck their pieces away. I
mm,
feel like so many of our Zentangle artists don't respect the art that they have in fact created. And I make it big enough that it's not going to fit into your shoebox and it's not going to fit into even your folder. So you might as well buy a frame and be proud of it and put it up and
mm,
let everybody see what you create it.
Mm,
Yes, I inspired it, but it's always inspired by me, created by you, right?
mm,
So take the credit, take the praise when people walk in and see that hanging on your wall. You did that,
mm.
and you should be proud of it. And I think that it's worthy of being seen and not tucked away. So I do make it a bit more difficult to tuck things away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that. It's truly unique, but maybe it's also a good idea to share some of the pieces that you have chosen for us to see here, and maybe people will then have a better idea about what we are talking about. So let's start with the first one.
Yeah, so I have to admit that when you first said pick your three favorite pieces, I was like, ooh, where do I begin? But as I thought about it, it really was simple. And it didn't take me long at all to figure out what those pieces were going to be.
Mhm,
So this one was a 4-week series online class.
mm,
And again, it's an online class that could have been individuals and dollars and
mhm,
be done. But I, because I like the bigger pieces, opted to take those fours and dollars and piece them together, just outlined,
mhm,
onto a 10 and a half by 10.5 inch circle of cotty paper.
mhm.
So why is this one of my favorite pieces? First of all, I can't get enough cotty paper. I love everything
Same,
about it.
same.
Everything about it.
Mm,
So I am a teacher that believes that the O1 pen was given to us as part of the process.
mm,
I never use a PN. I never use an O5. I never use forget a bold whatever. I believe the O1 is part of the process and it allows us to slow down.
mhm,
So every piece that you're going to see is done with an O1 for that reason. So it doesn't matter how big I go, the pen is still an O1. That cotty paper has a fantastic texture to it. I am not a Bristol girl at all. Can't
Same.
stand it. Kind of, my pen slips across it.
Mm,
I have no control over it. It's no better than cardstock to me. Nothing about it is appealing. So this cotty paper, just like that O1, allows us to take the pause, to slow down, to enjoy the process. Because if you go too quickly, your pen's going to get caught
mm,
inside of those threads and get thrown off course, right?
mhm,
So that slow, steady, deliberate, intentional
mm.
line stroke is where this paper and that pen marry so beautifully together. And I love this piece. I love everything about the tree of life and everything it stands for and means. So to build four into one vision,
Mm.
this is
It
me
is a
right here.
gorgeous piece. And now that I look at the intricacies of each of these trees of life, I wonder how difficult it must be to teach some of these shapes. And it's really so tangled and interwoven together that it must have been a challenge. You did an amazing job, not just creating it, but sometimes creating things, it's not so challenging as trying to teach it to other people and being successful at it. It takes a totally different set of skills, and being able to deconstruct such intricate designs, it's not easy at all. It's a beautiful piece.
It's a lesson in anything is possible, one stroke at a time,
That's
right?
true as well. That's true.
This is one of my older pieces, and it's probably 3 years old, I think. And I remember very distinctly, oh gosh, I could never do that, right?
Hmm.
And, inevitably, yes, you can,
Hmm.
right? So I believe that what I have to say is going to cause a little bit of a rift in the community,
Hmm.
but I'm okay because I believe it so wholeheartedly that I don't believe there is any such thing as an advanced course in Zentangle.
Hmm.
If you're a good teacher and you can do that process, as we say, one stroke at a time, anything is possible, one stroke at a time, whether it be the first time you're picking up a pen or the millionth time you're picking up that
Mhm.
pen. And I believe that we all, whatever is created in that step out, have the opportunity to create something pretty incredible with anything that we throw out there. So, um,
I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Let's jump to the next one. So the next one is a combination of gray tiles, right? Or is it an opus, gray opus maybe?
yeah, so this is a gray opus, which I
Mhm.
am so distraught over the fact that we can't get them anymore because these were just such an amazing
I didn't
substrate.
even know that. They're not
Yes, they are
available anymore.
not available.
Okay.
And there for a while, every time I asked, they said that they would come back, but now it's completely off the website and not just out of stock. So I'm not feeling very confident about them coming back. I think it's been about 2 years now that they are
Hmm.
not available. And I think it's a huge, huge loss to the community because
Well, let's
this was
let's
my
hope
favorite.
that they might do something similar to the Renaissance styles, come out with a slightly darker version of gray, and
Ah,
then come out with those slightly darker gray opus styles as well.
there
And
you
yeah, this
go.
is what I'm rooting for. So I'm an eternal optimist. Let's
So
go back
maybe
to the
they'll
piece.
watch this and, start their research on the next
Yeah,
gray paper.
yeah. Let's go back to your beautiful piece.
Yeah. So this is my baby. This is one of 10
Mhm,
Zen quilts that I
mhm,
offered. So I offered two series of Zen quilts, a Zen quilts 1 series and a Zen quilts 2 series. And it was all about the large substrate. So the whole quilt series were built off of these gray opus tiles
mhm,
and then pieces of other official tiles. So my first Zen quilt series was the three Z's. It was um, the Zendalas. It was how we cut them and pieced them together.
mhm,
This in particular is from my Zen Quilts 2 series, and it was the Drunkard Path series, which
mhm,
is all made up of intermingled circles and quarter circles and how they're combined together. So this is a gray opus with 4 Zendalas
mhm.
uh, that were cut and quartered and then pieced back together and pen sewn to create this vision of a quilt.
Can I just interrupt you? So I will discover one of your secrets.
Aha.
I have learned that Sheila doesn't really love fragments. Reticula and fragments. It's not her favorite concept. Let's say it like that. But if I may say so, this is exactly a piece that's one big reticula with the same fragment, almost the same, repeated all over again and rotated and flipped. So it's exactly like something that you are supposed not to like, but you are very proficient at it, and you made a perfect piece
That is so
with the
funny.
fragments.
So, can I just tell you a true story right now in full vulnerability? When Fragments came out, I tried to get it. I tried to understand it. Um, and I even put a class out there for my 4 or 5 students that were so loyal. Um, and I kid you not, like everything that I put out, they signed up for, and they were amazing, and still are amazing. But I did this fragment reticula class, and I was so befuddled and so confused during the whole class. I gave them all their money back and said, you want to learn it, you have to go to somebody else. I can't teach you. Fragments and ridiculous. This is a true story. So the fact that you're calling me out on fragments, the only reason that this worked in my head was because we worked a full Zendala and I cut it physically into four pieces after it was done. And then it was just a matter of piecing those
It's
together.
like pieces of a puzzle, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
found an amazing way to teach reticular fragments and to, yes, and to create
Let
with them.
I can assure you those words never left my mouth during this class. Ever, not
I
once.
just, you know, it's so evident that it's a
That's
big
so fun.
reticulum with little square fragments, and then each of them is like flipped, rotated, flipped, rotated.
I'm
Mhm,
so happy that it's
mhm.
reading that for you.
It's a great piece. We have to say the truth about it. It's reticular fragment. Let's go to the next one to see if it's the same. Well, no, it's not so evident, right? So this is the third one that you chose. You can maybe share why.
So this was my Dreaming in Black and White
Mm-hmm.
that was presented to Tangle U online
Mm,
when during
COVID.
the shift of going live versus going online.
Mm.
So yeah, this was my Tangle U piece that I offered on cotty paper.
Mm-hmm.
And it was intriguing to me how many people bulked, shifted, cut their own piece of Bristol or whatever piece of paper, and didn't give this piece of paper that they were given in their supply kit the opportunity that it
Mm.
deserved. So there was a little bit of, ooh, what is this Sheila Grube
Why
doing
do you
to us,
think?
right? And
Why do you think that maybe they wanted to like practice practice
which,
before doing it because
yeah.
it is a complex design which probably they didn't know about before they started drawing, but maybe they wanted to keep it like for when they feel more comfortable drawing
Yeah,
the piece.
there was feedback that was very negative about the paper. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
my
yeah,
God.
because again, if you rush on this paper, it will redirect you really quickly. Because that O1, and again, I used a
Hmm.
gray micron O1.
Hmm.
So with that O1, it does, if you're not mindful and intentional,
Hmm.
it does take a mind of its own. It gets caught in the cross grains of this beautiful 100% cotton. And this paper, why I love it so much, is the more you touch and feel and get your oils
Hmm.
on that paper, it breaks down to almost t-shirt material.
Hmm.
It's so beautiful. But when you receive it, it's starchy, it's hard, you have to work it, you have to love it, and love it meaning touch it and
Hmm.
give it some love. And yeah, it did not go over well. But
Hmm.
I love the piece. I love how this unfolded one step at a time. And, I so wanted to put in a piece to see if I could get in to teach at Tangle U, and what could I do? What was unique? But being authentic, could I even get in with something that was black and white, right? And I was laying in bed, not able to sleep, and which is unusual for me because I don't have a problem sleeping. Um, and I looked up at my headboard and I was like, that's it. So this is kind of a take or a riff off of my headboard
Mm.
that I shifted into Zentangle style. So yeah,
Oh.
one of my favorite pieces. It's
It is really beautiful. And what you just said about Khadi, I can't believe it because it's one of my favorite paper types as well. And Khadi has like smooth and rough paper. And the
yes,
smooth is not smooth at all. It's bumpy, right? But I go
yeah,
for the rough. It's for the same because when I tangle on very smooth paper, I kind of have these very ordinary straight lines, and I always envy Maria Thomas and her lines that have so much character. And for me to be able to draw such lines, I have to use rough paper. Because I'm
Agreed.
not able
Agreed.
to produce that effect
Yeah.
just
I
on
feel like
normal
I have
paper.
no, right. I have no control over where my pen is going. It just kind of slips everywhere on those shiny,
Yeah,
smooth
yeah,
surfaces, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I feel ya. I feel ya.
Yeah, same, same.
Yeah.
So, oh, I'm so glad that you shared these. And when Sheila sent me those three photos, she asked me, there's no color at all. I mean, there's a little bit of blue. She said, there's no color at all. Should I pick some other ones? I'm like, no, I want you to pick whatever you like and then tell us why you like it. And I think that these, having followed you for a while now, I think that these perfectly represent what you really do. It's your authentic self again, and this is why I like having you here. You know that I use a lot of color in my work, and having somebody who is equally as passionate about black and white, or it's amazing. I mean, it's what makes this community and this world so interesting that we are so different,
100%.
and you can learn so much from other people and from their preferences and from their perspectives. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing thing. And
I
I
was just
wanted.
going to say when I do retreats, my spring retreat is full color
Mm-hmm.
and my fall retreat is full black and white, and my
Mm.
Christmas is just
Yeah,
Christmas,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But the I struggle far more with being unique in my spring retreat
Mm-hmm.
than I ever do with my black and white retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not because of the simplicity of black and white, but because I feel like the community in black and white has really kind of stayed true
Mm-hmm.
to Rick and Maria's testing of the tools.
Mm-hmm.
So the micron, the pencil, the tortillon that they offer, fabulous tools. And people just accept that. Whereas I find fun in finding, yes, it's black and white, but how can we express black and white maybe with a different tool or a
Mm-hmm.
different element, right? But yeah, no, spring, I definitely take longer to because I'm not being authentic,
Yeah.
right? I'm doing it for the crowd. So I have to learn more, right, to
I
be
understand.
unique.
I understand.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's always fun. It's a fun challenge, to grow. And that's the only way you grow, to have supplies on a daily basis come through your door to try out and
Mm,
see
mm.
what works, what doesn't work. And, that's the fun part, right? That's
So I know that you're passionate about the Micron O1. Is there a part or maybe some specific supply from our usual kit that you find very difficult to use, or do you have like the diva among the supplies that's very capricious and doesn't want to listen, and
um hmm.
let me
I
maybe a hint. Do you like the jelly roll? Why the jelly roll? How do you?
but you've heard me yip about it so many
No,
times.
I'm not sure I did, or at least not. I'm not sure I remember hearing it.
Yeah.
Is that maybe the one that you are not too
Yeah.
happy about, or?
Well, I just feel like the jelly roll is so inconsistent, right? You could buy a brand new gold jelly roll and it works amazing. And then you take the second jelly roll out of the same box and it's all separated. It has no gold to it whatsoever. And, you're left with all of this inconsistency. So if I want a little bit of shine or sparkle, or can I plug here? I, I don't know. I'm going to say I'm not a Jelly Roll fan. I do love their whites, though. Their white
Mhm,
10, I do
mhm,
love.
mhm,
At first, when it came out, it was a little gooey and goppy for me. But
mhm.
that was a me issue, not a pen issue, because I wasn't cleaning it enough. Because of all
Uh-huh.
the ink that comes out, it needs to be
Wiped
cleaned a
away.
little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So now that I know that, I do love the white 10. But if I want a little sparkle or a little a little glitter to my mix. I either do a link shine or a sparkle pop,
Mhm.
but you can never go wrong with the clear 700 jelly roll. That is a
Mm,
must-have in every toolkit.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
nice to know. And
yeah,
what about the tangles? I think that both of us are big Muka fans, right? We just have a different
absolutely.
approach to drawing it. I I joked like that's an American Muka with the big with American Muka with this big pod, and mine looks more delicate, which is actually surprising because I'm also a big tangler. I'm not a tiny tangler at all.
Yeah.
Um, do you have some kind of other tangles that you are passionate about, or techniques, or and you are going to share something with us today. So what is it that you would like to share, and what is it that you like?
Yeah, so I believe that there is no other tangle other than Muka. If you come to a retreat, you will definitely be encountering Muka. If you take an online class, you're hard pressed to find any class without Muka. So yeah, I do have a little bit of a passion for it, maybe a little illness for it. But it just flows and fills
Mm,
so beautifully um, in every composition.
mm.
Um, I tend to avoid anything that's structured or straight lined because there's nothing about me that's structured or straight lined. Nothing. Um, so definitely an organic girl. And if there's anything to know about me in my tangling composition, I joke and say, "Hi, my name is Sheila Grube, and I'm afraid of the white space," right? So I joke, but it's a true thing. Like, you're not gonna find open white space in any of my expressions. Like, every square inch of that paper needs to be filled, or I get a little heart palpitation, yeah? So my style isn't for everyone. I am about filling, I'm about offering multiple tangles to one piece, right? Not everything is for everyone, right? But I, in true authenticity, will not be putting out a lot of white space compositions and hope that you'll bite. 'Cause
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I,
Okay, that's
just not my
interesting.
thing, right?
I find that I have the same issue. I'm trying to like uh, uh, maybe create more airy pieces, but I have the same. I mean, I like to use the frames, but then within the frame, I just stuff it in. But yeah, so what would you like to share with us today? Is it a
So
tangle? Is it a technique? Is it a supply?
I would love to share my tangle, one of my tangles.
Yay!
Um, yeah, should I start my camera?
Yes, yes, you can switch to your camera. I have a tile and some pens, and I will follow along, but I would like you to share your screen.
Okay.
Perfect.
So we can see everything is fine, yeah?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
need my glasses for this. All right. So
Your favorite, let me just say, your favorite graphite pencil.
my favorite graphite is the Blackwing matte.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, there is no competitor. This I never leave home without. And my favorite pen is the Mono 01. Sorry.
Okay.
I love the extension of the nib, and it's a thicker, not a thicker line, but a more
30, maybe.
yes, sturdy. That's the
Mm.
word. A more solid, sturdy nib. So yeah, those are my
Mm.
favorites right there.
Okay.
So can I just share my step out or?
You can share whatever you want.
All
The
right.
floor is yours.
Okay. So here is the Gratipetalz
Hmm.
step out.
Mm-hmm.
which comes from the gratitude symbol, the universal symbol of gratitude. So I was offering a class of gratitude, and I was like, well, let's see if I can come up with something. So this is where we're headed. And we're
Mm-hmm.
going to just do a simple little, you remember when I said a 3.5 inch tile is really a monotangle to me? So here we go. Here's my monotangle. Oh gosh. So just starting with a center orb,
Mm-hmm.
just so we have a place to allow those petals to kind of grow off of since it is a petal. So I'm going to start with that. Oh,
I'm sorry, that was me coughing.
oh, sorry. You wanted me to stop. All right. So we're just going to start on the outside ring of that and offer a C curve that kind of lands up at a kind of curves over to the center point. And then we're going to do that C curve in the reverse direction. So the center point and bulging out on the right side, coming down around that line and curving up to create this little hook. And in one clean swoop, we're going to spiral up and around and finishing after one swoop on the inside. So if you see, we have a spiral that almost looks like there's a G in the
Mm-hmm.
center of it. Yeah?
Oh, I thought I saw number 9.
Ah, or a number 9. But this is the gratitude symbol. So
Yeah.
we're going to call it a G.
Yes. Yes. It's the
Just
same. I
kidding.
mean, it's the same shape, but I guess my mind is more set on numbers.
There you go. My mind will never be set on a number. Yeah. Um, and now that we have that laid, we're going to add 3 dots,
Mm-hmm.
diminishing in size up from that hook. And that just means that there's an infinite list
Mm-hmm.
of things to be grateful for, right? So just when you think that you've acknowledged everything, there's always something more, right? As we say in Zentangle, the possibilities are endless.
Mm-hmm.
So too is gratitude, right? And now at the top, in the pinch or peak of this teardrop shape, we're going to add a little betweed. So I'm going to come off the left side and swoop over to the right side. And then I'm going to redefine off the right side and weave underneath that first channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to add a little loving, we're going to add a little bit of line weight to that outer rim. So I'm just adding a tethered aura on both the outside and inside, depending on how your space falls of that original line. And then inking that in with some drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do the same in the hook or the back stroke of where that spiral begins down below.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a gratipetal.
Love it and love the story around it.
And we're going to just fill in around that orb
Mm-hmm.
with more petals to create a gratiflower. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, for lack of a better descriptive, but since we're using it as petals, just creating that flower shape always comes naturally to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's an endless possibility of how this little tingle can be used. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember this from our retreat. I think maybe the last class that you had on your schedule was using this tangle.
Yeah. So the last class of every retreat always comes back to pure. Zentangle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's always just a simpler, not to say that pure Zentangle is simpler, that's not at all what I'm saying,
Mm.
but just bringing it home to that black and white, that kind of, um, what am I trying to say? Just,
It's in the true spirit of Zentangle. And not only
yeah,
that, but the last step of the Zentangle method is gratitude and appreciation. But then,
100%.
finishing with something like this, it really just affirms the whole philosophy. I think it's a great choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I was, and I think that this may be why one of the reasons that Zentangle spoke to me so much when I was going through my process, I learned that gratitude was a huge, huge part of shifting perspective.
Hmm.
So every day I had to, before I went to bed, offer 5 things that I was grateful for that day.
Hmm.
And it couldn't be the same thing every day, right? It had to be 5 unique things. And it was in this process that I realized that gratitude comes in the small things, and that's what makes them big. It's not the big magic that happens all the time, that we wait for. It's the
Hmm.
little things that make things big. And it
Hmm.
was a huge lesson for me, because, I was one that waited for the big moments of life to be settled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So gratitude has done a lot for me in my journey and through my process. So this tangle is near and dear, right?
Yeah.
It's a little piece of me that I'm offering to you.
Did you do this gratitude practice in the form of a journal or?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And it's amazing. Sometimes I'll go back and, just kind of read through that. And it's amazing how some days I really had to not kind of scrape the barrel to find something so that I could go to sleep that night, right?
Mm,
But it wasn't scraping the barrel at all. It was acknowledging,
mm,
again, those little things. It was knowing that even you, I very distinctly remember, this one stoplight that I always get stopped at. And I tell you, it's the longest stoplight in my life. I got a green light, and I wrote it down as a form of gratitude that day. And it is all about the green lights that can change the direction of your day, because that
mm,
red light could have made me late for whatever it is that I thought at the time was so
mm.
important, right? But it was the green light that day that I offered some gratitude for.
Oh, love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
So, I mean, do you want to like kind of finish this out, or do we want to just say we now have a new tangle underneath our belt?
It's a great angle. I think it's a very valuable addition to our conversation because there is a story behind it as well.
Awesome.
I just wonder if do you have a specific way of shading it, or would you just leave it to everybody to do it the way? I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
obviously,
yeah,
everybody can do it the way they want to, but
right. I mean, as we well know, there is no right or wrong, and this
okay.
tangle can offer 100 different ways of adding shading to it. But I like to add a little hint of shade into the pinch of that bee tweed and right underneath that top band where that
Mhm.
top band comes around. And I also offer just a little line right in that open space where the spiral and that hook kind of pull apart. So just offering, and again, one of my favorite classes that I ever taught when I first got started was thanks to that, 50 Shades of Gray or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, Taking one tingle and shading it, 10 different ways.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
all had a different voice, but one may have spoken to you differently, or, you could have had a like or dislike for one or the other, but none of them are wrong, right? And
Mhm.
it was a great lesson for those that, in the beginning when we're too afraid to ruin our work.
Yeah. 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 It takes, practice to develop that courage and believe that whatever you do is right. I find that the
Right.
less I care about the
Right.
outcome, the better the outcome is in a way, because
100%.
you have to manage the expectations because you can't manage the outcome. So it's
Exactly. I
best to
love that.
approach it like that.
I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, I love this. So it's like a little aura line. Will you also blend it?
Oh, I'm just doing kind of like a drop shadow just because I
Mm-hmm.
was vamping while I thought that you weren't watching.
I love it.
Anyway, so there
Thank
is
you for
our
sharing it and the story
Gratipetalz.
behind it and the practice, your journaling practice. I think, I'm not consistent and at things like that, but I could certainly use it. Yeah.
It's
Everybody.
enlightening.
Mm,
It's
mm,
truly enlightening. Um, yeah, when you can appreciate the things that you take for granted, it's a
mm,
total mind shift, right?
mm, mm,
So
mm.
yeah,
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing.
thank you.
Um, So, I am so happy that I will see you not once this year, but twice this year. And very soon for the first time. I look very forward to it.
As do
Um,
I.
what
Yeah.
a great year this will be. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with us? With me, and then with everybody who will watch this?
Is there anything else I would like to share? Um, I think I touched on it, but one of the thoughts or questions that you posed to me was, what advice would you have to all of the new CZTs,
Mhm.
right, that are looking to start teaching and looking to start a business?
Mhm.
Um, First of all, if you're not passionate about it, don't do it because you're not making money in a business of Zentangle. It's just not going to happen. You're doing it because you love doing what you're doing, and you want to share a little piece of yourself. That being said, you need to find that piece of yourself that
Mhm.
you want to share. Don't go online and form your voice off of what's already out there.
Mhm.
Find your own voice, research your own passions, research your own distinct way of bringing Zentangle to us. Um, as they say, you do you. Or as I say, you do you, but as they say, everyone else is taken, right?
Mhm.
So we didn't get here by accident. We put in the effort, we put in the time, we found our voice and our authentic self that other people appreciate. And that's why we are where we are, right? Um, we couldn't do it without all of those
Mhm.
students that appreciate us for what we offer,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So,
It's a
yeah.
lifelong experience. I mean, for me, going from this like a very structured, like straight career in finance and things like that, coming to this, the first priority was not to lose that passion. And it's not easy because you just get caught in this, well, I have to do this, this is expected, or this is how. It really takes a lot of mindfulness, and it's like deliberate lines in Zentangle, and this mindfulness about the what you are doing at the moment, and then coming back to the next step. So for me, it takes a lot of work to just pause and then uh, think about what is it that I really like about what I do, and what is it that I don't like as much, and what would I like to carry forward, what would I like to leave behind me.
Yeah,
And in developing our own style, it is also like that. It takes like you have to observe what you are doing and dive deeply, right? And
exactly.
find what you are passionate about, and try to
Exactly.
find something that makes you special, because everybody has something that's very unique about them. And
100%.
yeah, so
You're
many amazing people, so many unique people. You, one of them, with your really, it's what you say, it's the layers. Because when I met you for the first time, I was like, you're so out there, you're so lively, you're so vibrant. I could never imagine you being feeling depressed, feeling down, not caring. Nobody knows what's behind the screen, what's behind the drawing, what's behind the facade. So I think coming out like this and being vulnerable, sharing about your experience, many people will recognize themselves in your words, and it will mean a lot to them, because then that's how we find out that we are not alone in whatever we are
right.
feeling and experiencing. So thank you for that.
Right.
I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
I will share a link, or to where you can find Sheila online on her website, which is sheilagrube.com, and also social media. It's easy to find each of us. If you really want to experience an amazing retreat, very specific, very unique, I would recommend with my whole heart, and I hope that I will come back again. Maybe next then again. Let's see what happens, what life brings us. It's so difficult to plan nowadays, but I would certainly love to come back, and I
That would
hope
be
that I
lovely.
will. But before that, I will see you in Europe twice this year, and yeah, what a
Very
great
exciting.
year it will be. So, Sheila, please tell me what your future plans are for anybody who would like to visit your in-person retreats. I know that they are sold out, but maybe, they can drop in if somebody drops out, or sign up for the
Absolutely.
next year, right? How do they do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the best way is to sign up for my newsletter, which is just once a month. And that is kind of first information as to when retreats open. But there's always life happening. So if you're at all interested, send me an email and I will put you on the wait list, or message or whatever, and I'll get you on the wait list. And, if something opens up, I'll reach out and um, be on the lookout for next year as well. Right,
It's
right.
worth it.
Thank you.
It's worth it. But you are also teaching online classes for those who are not able to attend in person, right?
I do teach online classes, not as frequently as I'd like because retreats take a lot of prep and time. But I do have a class coming up on March 28th, that is 100% Sheila. It is a large scale substrate, 8 by 8. It's a whole lot of organics, a whole lot of deep shading, and maybe a little muka too,
Wow.
right? So this is our class that's coming up on Saturday, the 28th.
Okay, and not only that, you have another very specific thing that you do on a yearly basis. You
Do.
Christmas girl.
I do. I've already told you how much I love
Mhm,
Christmas. Um, and I believe that Christmas is every day, right? Christmas
mhm.
is a mindset. And if we just have a little bit of kindness and magic throughout the year, we would be surprised at how many gifts of life come our way, right? But we have to wait until December. But I like to offer Christmas halfway through the year as a little pause, as a little reminder, as a piece of magic before the hustle and bustle of all the expectations of what Christmas is. And so I host a Holly Jolly July event, 12 Tangled Days of Christmas, where I get 6 guest teachers to share their joy and magic of Christmas in a teaching class, all through a recording, and then 6 classes of me live that are also recorded. Just festive, just fun, and just a way to maybe start your Christmas cards or hostess gifts or gift giving before the crazy times happen when your schedule is this long and there's only this many days to fit the schedule in. Yeah. So just a little pause to the year to find some magic and festive time. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sheila also does a lot of free sharing on her YouTube channel. And
Ah,
I have read recently a post about your 50 quilts,
50, yeah. 50 Zen quilts. Yeah. So
right?
50 Zen quilts. And they're all 3.5 by 3.5 inch tiles that replicate the actual state quilt.
Mm,
Um, and then all the tangles correlate to fun state facts. So if
mm,
you're in the States and are the least bit intrigued, I now have a little Zen 50 state Zen quilt angel that has stepped in to help me with this project because it
mm,
was a lot. And it was a goal for 2025, but
right.
now it'll be completed in 2026 thanks to Helen de la Marter, who has helped me with all of the stringing and the math behind the stringing. I don't do and has recorded all of those strings for me. So all I need to focus on is grabbing the colors and finding the tangles that correlate to some state facts. So happy, happy, happy gratitude
Mm,
beyond belief for Helen picking that up and joining me on the journey so that that project could be completed. So that's
yeah.
over on my YouTube channel for free. I did say every Sunday, but now it's just whenever it's posted.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't
Thank
put
you.
that
Thank
pressure on
you.
myself. Yeah.
Thanks to Helen, the math angel,
Yes.
who stepped in to help you finish this really, really ambitious and challenging project. And kudos to you for even, you know, taking it. It's a huge task. It's a huge task. I mean,
I
whew.
didn't know. I didn't know. I just wanted to do it. I
Ignorance
didn't
is
know.
bliss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was
Yeah.
starting. But I am grateful for it now that I'm on the other side,
You are on the right
and
side.
Helen's
Right.
kind of taken over the struggles for me. And
Mm.
now I'm super excited and I can't wait to get it all together and have that project. It's a pretty special project.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody interested in any of these projects run by Sheila, you can go either to her YouTube channel or to her website
Thank
and,
you.
tangle along. Thank you for sharing all those future plans and running projects. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to add to our conversation?
Much gratitude. I love you, girl. I love our friendship. I love the opportunity. And, I love this community. I love being part of it. I am so blessed. And I appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Likewise, likewise. Thank you for being a part of mine and for being
Thank you.
here with me today, sharing your story with me and everybody else. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. For everybody that listened to our conversation, thank you too. If there are any questions for Sheila or for me, you can write in comments. You can, it's easy to find us. You can write a message or email us or whatever you want. It's a
Absolutely.
joy to share everything with everybody in our community. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank
And
you.
hope to, yeah, we will have many opportunities to see each other in person and online. You know where to find us. Big hugs and kisses to you and to everybody watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.